Hey everyone, Lord Josh here. We are continuing on with Taoist Transformation Magic. I have already covered 3 external transformation skills: contracting the land, telekinesis, and levitation. Although all of these skills are very profound and awe-inspiring, they really aren't the most practical spells. How often do you need to contract the land and levitate? Not very often, really. So this next skill is something that everyone should be able to tap into because it's so vital to our survival and well-being. You cannot put a price on your health. This video is dedicated to Taoist healing magic and longevity. I'm actually going through a period of healing, cleansing, and I'm using these methods myself. The information that I'll be talking about here is all tried and tested by a person with health issues, so I know that it does work. It's important to mention that Taoist healing magic is a lot like Taoist weather magic, in the sense that the term healing magic is really an umbrella term for a lot of different practices involving longevity, and healing magic is not one skill, but hundreds of different skills. So I'm going to cover the rituals that I personally practice. A lot of ancient Taoists viewed many illnesses as being psychosomatic. They believed that some health conditions were manifested by the mind and the mood of the person. That's not to say that illness isn't real, far from it. It's to say that a person is capable of creating real illness by intensely and obsessively thinking about a certain condition. Take, for example, stress. Stress is much more than a simple state of mind. It's a state of being. And stress can cause serious physical problems to the body. Heart attacks, high blood pressure, stroke, weight loss, hair loss, weight gain, trouble sleeping, etc. All of these issues could stem from a mental feeling. One of the best ways to deal with stress is meditation. If the person can regain balance, they can regain health. The ultimate goal is to try to restore one's health without having to rely on external medicines, by attempting to encourage the body to heal itself. The sole purpose of Taoist healing is not to rid the body of toxins and negativity, but to balance the bad with the good, believing that in order for the body to function at an optimal level, the yin and the yang need to be aligned. The outside of the body is considered yang, and the inside yin. Above the waist is yang, below it yin. Yin is the right of the body and yang is left. The front of the body is yin and the back yang. There exists yin and yang organs as well. Yin organs are the liver, heart, spleen, lungs, and kidneys, and the yang organs are the gallbladder, stomach, small intestines, and the bladder. Yang organs tend to be more hollow, and yin organs are more solid. Yin organs tend to store fluids and energy, whilst yang organs transport energy and digest nutrients. Qi is yang and blood is yin. Inhaling is yin and exhaling is yang. When there is excess yang within the body, physical signs and symptoms will occur, such as having a red complexion on your face, feeling very warm, having high blood pressure, and feeling hyperactive. The opposite is true with too much yin. You will get a pale complexion, feel cold, and have low blood pressure and feel fatigued. I can usually tell just by looking at a person's face and eyes if they have an imbalance. People with too much yang tend to have a crazy kind of intense look in their eyes, kind of like me, and they also look like they've consumed 20 cups of coffee. And the people with excess yin look withdrawn and shy, like they are feeling uncomfortable with being around other people. It's not just bodily signs that you need to look for within personality types. Yang people are very extroverted, and yin people very introverted. Within TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, the organs follow the 5-element theory, similar to that of Wu Xing, the Chinese 5 elements. The liver and the gallbladder correspond to wood, the kidneys and urinary bladder to water, the heart and small intestine to fire, the stomach and spleen to earth, and lastly, lungs and large intestines to metal. I don't want anyone to think yin is bad for the body and yang is good. because the organs have to rely on each other. For example, the yang stomach has to work with the yin spleen in order for healthy bodily function to occur. You should never interrupt this natural cycle. One interesting point needs to be made as well. There are invisible channels that exist within the body known as meridians. They act as channels and pathways connecting to every organ, cell, and body area. These channels allow qi, blood, and information to travel through them, supplying different areas of the body with the proper fuel. Traditionally, there are 12 major meridians, and each side mirrors the other, and there are yin and yang channels, with each corresponding to an organ. The yin meridians of the arm are lung, heart, and pericardium. The yang meridians of the arm are large intestine, small intestine, and triple burner. The yin meridians of the leg are spleen, kidney, and liver, and the yang meridians of the leg are stomach, bladder, and gallbladder. They are used in the practice of martial arts as well. The meridians allow your body's cells to constantly communicate with each other in order to keep you alive and well. They also link a person's conscious and subconscious mind. This is why strategically practiced and proper placed acupuncture is very useful if you have trouble with your channels being blocked. If there is a blockage somewhere on any one of these 12 channels, illness will strike. And strangely enough, stress is one of the leading causes of meridian malfunction. So what happens when your health and balance goes wrong, which it so often does? Yes, you could pay to see a Qigong doctor and undergo various vibration and light therapy treatments, which are very successful, but if you're a ceremonial magician, then in my opinion, you should try healing rituals first. If you have a yin illness, it should be treated with a yang remedy and vice versa. Timing is very important for curing illnesses within Taoism. If you want to treat a yang condition by using Tai Chi and Qigong, practice meditation at 6 a.m. This is the time when yin energy is in abundance. 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. for yang cultivation, and 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. for yin. Such a remedy could also come in the form of a magical herb or talisman. Taoist sorcerers would often use the herb feverfew, which is very effective for boosting the immune system, fighting infections, and the ancient mystics also believed that if you carried feverfew around with you in a pouch, it would act like a charm and it would ward away illnesses and disease. Let me tell you, I've always got a very discreet little pouch of feverfew to keep things away. Another form of plant magic, if you are sick and you want to make a speedy recovery, an old Taoist method involves placing a pot or a container of freshly cut nettles under the bed of a person who is unwell. It is thought that the nettles will absorb the sickness. Thyme is fantastic for those who want to sleep more. When you sleep, obviously you heal faster, so Taoists would place thyme under the pillow in order to get a good night's rest. It works well for insomnia, so I really recommend it. What if you don't have a physical illness, so to speak, but more of a mental and psychological disorder? Taoists like the herb rosemary because it is very helpful in treating depression. You could burn it as an incense or mix it into an elixir as tea. Lavender is great for anxiety and stress as well. Lavender oil applied to a person's pillow helps them relax and cool down without making them feel tired. Now, some people, myself included, love to meditate under trees. The tree that most relates to health and longevity within Taoism is the peach tree, because peaches are viewed highly as auspicious fruits. They are known as the peaches of the immortals due to the celestial beings known as Xions, who would eat them in order to live long, healthy lives. You ever heard of the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away? Well, in China, it is the peach. A lot of birthday cakes in China contain peaches due to the connection to health and longevity. Having a talisman or an amulet with the image of peaches on it will bring good health to you. Feng Shui practitioners recommend peach amulets to elderly people. In terms of healing spirits and gods, and again, whenever you talk about gods and spirits, you're always going to have so many to work with, it's hard to kind of pin them down. But my favorites would be some of the eight immortals, legendary Xions. They are all useful, but the one you should pay the most attention to in terms of health and longevity is the immortal Li Tai Guai. He is able to cure the sick and needy because he carries a gourd bottle around with him that contains the sacred elixir of the gods. He uses this medicine to heal the sick. So if you are a ceremonial magician, you could call his assistants and you could take a sip from the medicine. Only do this if you are sick. You also have the Old Man of the South Pole. I'm sure you have all heard of him before. He is deeply connected to immortality and longevity. I would recommend buying a statue of him and placing it in the eastern corner of the living or dining room in order to attract good health. There is the Life Protection Emperor, who is a Chinese health deity. He was believed to have existed under the name of Wu Tao and lived and worked as a brilliant doctor during the Song dynasty. He was deified as a health god after his death, and sorcerers are able to call him forth for assistance. I personally think, when it comes to magic, people tend to overlook health in favor of other things, such as wealth, fame, career, love, etc. But I always say this: your health is your wealth. Everything else is built upon that. If you aren't healthy, then you can't make or spend money. So you need to take care of your well-being before anything else. You have a meditation method in Taoism known as the 6 healing sounds. Since negative emotions tend to be stored up in the body's organs, in order to transform this energy, one would need to make certain sounds whilst practicing the meditation. Remember, in Taoism, we don't seek to destroy energy even if it's bad, but to transform it and transmute it so that it becomes good. Each sound corresponds with an area of the body. So to work with the lungs, you should make a zzz sound, like a hissing sound, and visualize a white light or white essence within the lungs. To work the heart, a deep ho sound should be vibrated whilst imagining a red light within the heart. To work the spleen, woo sound, similar to that of an owl, should be made whilst visualizing a yellow light. The kidneys is similar, but it's more of a high-pitched woo, whilst visualizing a blue light. The liver needs to be balanced with a slow shh sound accompanied by a green light visualization. And lastly, for the triple burner area, an E sound should be vibrated. Certain animals have a strong association with health and longevity. The tortoise, for example, not so surprising that in Chinese culture it is related to living a long, happy life. Even after death, there are special gravestones in China known as turtleback tombs. So you basically have a graveyard, and most of the graves will look like large turtle shells. This protects the grave from noxious, unhealthy winds. So now this is where Taoist healing magic overlaps into Taoist weather magic. You'll know this if you've seen my lectures. There are the 3 benign winds: wind of the east, wind of the southeast, and wind from the south. All of the other directional winds are considered quite harmful as they drain a person's qi. Although the tortoise is very much a health-oriented animal, within Taoism, the animal that most corresponds to health is, of course, the crane. These heavenly creatures represent immortality due to the connection they have with the Xians, the immortals, as Xians were said to have been able to transform into cranes and fly great distances. The red-crowned crane is especially auspicious. When I'm practicing healing magic, I have a special robe that I wear that has lots of crane decorations on it. A lot of people may think that healing magic is something that can be done just by practicing meditation or just by using internal cultivation. This is partially true. However, if you are really sick, and by really sick I mean close to death, or have a life-threatening condition, there is really only one ritual that you can practice in order to prolong your life. Within Taoism, this ritual is known as prolonging life with the stars of the Northern Dipper. The history of this ritual involves Zhuge Liang, courtesy named Kong Ming, the brilliant genius of the Three Kingdoms era, preparing to prolong his lifespan by 12 years during the Battle of the Wuzhong Plains. Kong Ming observed in the night sky, the Northern Dipper, the guest star is extremely bright, whilst the host star is very dim, a sign that his life was near its end. The only way to change the course of fate is to pray for life extension. Zhuge Liang, being a master of the arcane arts, quickly orders that 49 men must dress in black, carry black flags, and pace back and forth outside of his tent. Within the tent, Kongming dressed in Taoist robes. Barefooted, he prepared incense and offerings. On the floor were 7 large candles. Outside of this arrangement were 49 smaller candles. In the center of them all lied the master lantern. This larger and more elaborate candle represented Zhuge Liang's life force. The 7 candles were arranged in the shape of the 7 stars of the Dipper. They were lit for 7 days whilst the prayer was being performed. Kongming practiced star-stepping. He paced the Northern Dipper night after night, and he said, "If my master lantern remains alight for 7 days, then my life is to be prolonged for 12 years. If the lamp goes out, then I am to die. Keep all idlers away from the tent, and let a couple of guards bring me what is necessary." So in this working, if the flame of the master lantern burns out during the course of the 7-day ritual, this is a sign that the stars will not give you any more life. You are more or less doomed. Sadly, this is what happened to Kongming. On the 6th day of the prayer, Kongming started to feel a little bit better, when all of a sudden one of his generals, Wei Yan, barged into the tent and accidentally knocked over the master lantern, resulting in the flame being extinguished. From there, Kongming's fate was sealed. He died of illness shortly after in 234 AD. This is a bit of a side note, but I've always wanted to know what was the illness that actually took Zhuge Liang's life? What actually killed him in the end? I think there's some speculation on the Three Kingdoms forums about tuberculosis or lung cancer. It's always puzzled me and I've always wanted to know. Like I said, I have no idea what kind of disease Kongming had. I guess at this point we'll probably never know. If it wasn't for the terrible accident of Wei Yan knocking over the lamp, Kongming would have lived. This ancient ritual is still practiced today in modern China, although it is usually practiced by a very experienced Taoist priest, not just a layman. The risk of making the illness worse through mistakes and error is considerably high. When you wish upon a star, you should be very careful. My personal experience with the 7-star ritual of longevity is an interesting one. Since 2007, I have practiced bi-weekly rituals of thanks to the 9-star lords for keeping me safe, happy, and healthy. When I say rituals, I mean really basic. Light 7 candles and let them burn for about 15 minutes. Nothing complex like Kongming's rituals. And I did this for years, and it worked nicely. About a year and a half ago, I started to slack a bit with the rituals. So instead of doing them every 2 weeks, it became every 3, then 4, then 5, to the point where I wasn't maintaining my relationship with the Dipper deities. And keep in mind, the Dipper is central to my magic. I named my outdoor altar the Altar of the 7 Stars for this reason. So because I wasn't showing enough dedication and commitment, the Star Lords gradually left me because I thought I didn't need to continuously practice regular appreciation rituals anymore. I thought I had moved past that stage. Boy, was I wrong. Really, I ended up in hospital on an intravenous feed because of a severe life-threatening illness. As soon as I left that hospital, I got home, I put on my robe, and I did a full week-long elaborate technical ceremony. I bought 49 candles and I really went to town on that working. Thankfully, I was able to rekindle my relationship to the Dipper. So healing magic for me, it's not just magic, it is essential to my life. I have to do it. I do not let a single week pass by without making offerings to the Dipper gods. So thank you for watching this, everybody. I really do hope you give healing magic a try. I'll be back soon with more lectures. Take care.